Hey, how's it going? It's Talomik here with DNB Academy, and today I just want to take a quick look at glitching audio. We'll be focusing on breaks here, but to be honest, it will work with literally anything using Ableton's warp modes. And I'll kind of go through and explain what they do as we go through them. So I've got this break here from the DNB Academy Creator Suite. Kind of old school vibe to it. And I've set our tempo at 171, which matches the sample. So we're going to turn on warp, and I'll kind of go through them, and then we'll look at how we can pitch them. How we can glitch them using that. So if I switch to beats first, as that's top of the list, what beats will do is go through and slice out each what it deems as transient. But you can modify this into its own separate chunk. So if I was to stretch this sample right out, doesn't matter how we do it, and just use this top one-shot mode, you'll hear that it plays all of them back at their original tempo. So it doesn't stretch the samples out in any way necessarily. It essentially slices them up and then just plays them at slightly longer intervals. Using these different modes, we can then change the way that it plays back. So rather than a one shot, it will play back the sample at its original tempo, and then here we'll repeat that sample, playing forwards again each time until it needs to play the next sample. Already here, that sounds quite cool. And here it will play one forwards, and then on the repeat, reverse that sample. Again, sounds pretty cool. What tones and texture both do is essentially recreate granular synthesis. So it will slice it up into grains, like small little slices, and then repeat those. And we can adjust the size of them. Especially on these larger ones, you can actually hear these repeats. You can hear like it almost sounds like it's stuttering. Texture will do the same, but it has flux, which is essentially a randomization. So there's a bit of sort of irregularity to the way it does it. Repitch will change the pitch of the sample dependent on the tempo. So here we've stretched it out, it's slower, so you can hear it's pitched down. If I make that much shorter, it will sound higher in pitch. Like that. And then Complex and Complex Pro, which I won't touch on too much in this, or at all in this really, are much more transparent. So they work through granular synthesis as far as I'm aware. Complex Pro also has some formant processing built in, but they're much more transparent. I would use them for like vocals and things like that. But as we're looking at glitching and editing our audio, we're going to look at these other ones here. So the first thing I want to do is maybe take this snare. I'm going to slice it out. I press Command E to do that, and then we'll look at tones and we'll just pitch it up and maybe stretch it a bit. Let's consolidate it first. In fact, undo the pitch and then consolidate it, so it's the original sample, and now we'll pitch it up. There you go. Pretty cool. Let's take these ones here and maybe let's create, if I double click here, the way that this is slicing at the moment is by transients. So if I create a transient, it knows that it needs to slice this audio here as well. And maybe let's double the BPM. Cool. So by pitching up as well, we do shorten that sample. So if we're repeating the sample lots of times, by pitching it up, we're increasing the number of repeats in that period of time. Which is why if I do it you'll hear at higher pitches, there's obviously more repeats. Let's cut out this little bit here and maybe try repitch. And again, we'll double it so it's still in time. Or even potentially halve it. Oh. Let's halve it twice, copy that out and then double it. Or even, as you can hear, this kind of becomes a trial and error exercise. There we go. Another snare here, let's use texture. Pitch it up an octave. Or maybe let's try it down an octave. There we go. And then for this bit, there we go. So we've gone through each individual hit and sort of processed it in an interesting way to create slightly over the top. But I tend to use stuff like this for intros and things like that, or background effects. So if we filter out those lows and those highs. Bit of reverb. And obviously you would vary it slightly each time. And obviously, yeah, with a bit of variation, you can imagine that as a sort of percussive background layer. It's also good for glitching up vocals, for some interesting textures as well. But yeah, hope that was helpful. Any questions, let us know down below, and I'll see you in the next one.